Welcome back to the Broncast.
And I'm Donnie Whiteman. Is that too early?
If you notice on our table, we've got some pretty sweet Ozark mugs that are definitely not holding any adult beverages, but just a, coffee or tea. But one of our fans was like, hey, can I make you guys some mugs for the show? And I was like, yes, that would be amazing. So I sent him our logo and he put it on there. And so a huge shout out to 615 Customs for hooking us up with some really cool show cups. It was Josh Cresswell, and we'll put a link to his site in the description below, just so you can, if you want to get something sweet like this, maybe we'll sell some of these. We have to get one for our podcast producer, Mr. Josh Toller back there.
Oh, we could get some and give them away too.
Ooh, yeah.
Like if you leave us a review.
Oh yeah. Oh, cheers.
Cheers. Good idea. Yeah.
We did that. Got some good reviews. Oh yeah. See, it's perfect. Just drinking a frosty beverage out of there. I got some good reviews from our last giveaway, and gave away one of those Tom's Off-Road cars. That was pretty fun. I don't think we've mentioned this, but I know a lot of you guys listen to the podcast while you're driving around, and you don't necessarily watch it, which is totally fine because we cut it up and we don't post the whole episode a lot of times on YouTube anymore. We'll just do little chunks of it and stuff like that. Because we want you listening to it on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast. But a couple of weeks ago, we went to Jimmy Golden's, and I'm still talking about it. It was just a crazy cool experience. And I think I called it in the podcast, I called it Bronco Heaven. Because Jimmy had 20-something Broncos, 23 Broncos or something. Between him and his dad, or around the family. And he just walked us through what was rare about the Bronco, or what was rare about these Broncos. And the podcast was great, but if you haven't yet gone and watched the YouTube video, I would definitely go watch it, because it just takes it to another experience. You really get to be in that space. And I tried to run behind the camera and film a little bit, but then I'd set it down and talk to him. And so it was really cool.
That was our first remote in gun shops.
Yes,
kept going off. We both stop and look, and Jimmy is like, "Oh, that's normal."
Yeah,
trespassers.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what we do.
Yeah, it just kept going, and it sounded like a big caliber. It did not sound like a 22. It was like, huh, that might be a 50 cal. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Well, moving on, we haven't had a Bronco history section of our podcast in a while. It's been a long time, so we thought we would kind of pick up a little bit where we left off. And today we wanted to talk about, why did Ford stop the Bronco? We've been talking through the history of the Bronco. We've gone from why they started it all the way up through the Gen 5 Bronco, which stopped in 1996. But yeah, we just kind of wanted to go through, like, man, why is it that the production line stopped after 30 years of making the Bronco? Like, what was it? And I don't know. To me, two words pop in my head. O.J. Simpson.
June 17th, 1994.
No, I ultimately don't think that was the reason that they stopped it, but I do think that was not a help.
Yeah, murder and being chased by the LAPD.
I think it's the slowest police chase on record.
And longest.
Slowest and longest. Wow.
Yeah, slowest speed and longest. And
wow.
Yeah.
So that was 94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years before they actually stopped.
Okay. And that wasn't even OJ's Bronco. That was Al, what was that? I have it written. Al Cowling's Bronco.
Yeah, like his buddy. They had matching Broncos. They were identical, 2 white Broncos.
Yeah.
But Al picked him up. Yeah, so here's a spin for marketing. If you want to get away from a murder scene, get a Bronco. But on that day at the Ford plant, can you imagine all the guys in the assembly line? Well, there were a couple guys in one of the break rooms. Sonari Clinton talks about this. He was working on the assembly line, and he was in there, and the TV was on, and a coworker said, "Oh, you better buy some Ford stock." He goes, "That's a commercial. That's a Bronco commercial."
Oh my God.
It was on TV for hours.
I mean, it did sell more Broncos. Like it actually did. I don't know if they can trace it back to that, but they did have, especially in California, the Bronco sales went up after that, in that summer, that moment. I think they had one of the places had a summer sale program planned months before the murder and sold out of 200 white Broncos
first.
Yeah. So everyone was like, "Oh, that's a cool white Bronco. OJ has it. Let's buy it."
Well, they buy and ship white Broncos and white vehicles. All dealerships do in the summer, especially in states like California and Florida. But they said they had people coming into the dealerships just to get pictures with the Bronco.
That's amazing.
The OJ's, the actual white Bronco, is on display at the Museum of Crime in Pigeon Forge.
Really?
Yeah. It's just a few miles from Super Celebration East, but it never seems to make the tour stop on all the daily drives.
That's a good point.
It's next. So I think they keep these in the basement, but it's in the basement next to John Wayne Gacy's clown outfits and Ted Bundy's Beetle.
What?
Yeah. And then a few feet away is the white Bronco.
Oh, so it is like legit in the crime area.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I don't know how we segue from that into history.
Sorry. Cliffhanger.
Dun, 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 dun.
You're hanging on. Sorry. Josh maybe has some ideas.
Do a wipe.
Where's
screen?
our producer?
All right. So we talked about the 5th generation Bronco. And the 5th generation Bronco was came out 91 to 96. Was that it? 92 to 96, 4 years. And really, Bronco had really established their name from 1966 through that 5th generation of being an off-road vehicle. It wasn't a luxury, comfy, like we said that when the 3rd generation came out, like they had a lot of comfy options and they tried to option it out like that, but they were always hitting the off-road market. They was always driven like an off-road vehicle. It was always the farm vehicle. It was always the vehicle because it could go anywhere, go over all terrain. Like that's what it had gotten. And in the consumer's mind, it was an off-road vehicle. And I think, really Ford was looking at this going, we can't rebrand, like we can't change the Bronco enough to change the brand. Like it's always going to be an off-road vehicle, and the market wasn't wanting an off-road vehicle anymore. They wanted, we were coming into the soccer mom era. Think about the 90s. Like that was, the perfect family that had the white picket fence who, 3 kids loaded in, piled into the minivan. Mom took them to soccer practice and hockey practice and, to the mall and like all this stuff. But no one wanted to get in a 2-door Bronco. No one wanted to climb through the back seat to, and mom would always, shut up. And, the kids yelling in the back that they have to sit in the back. And, so it was like you wanted that minivan kind of thing, a nice sliding door, or at least just 4 doors, maybe even a 3rd row seating, like maybe extra room in the back. So we kind of hit the place at that time period where the the average consumer wasn't looking for a Bronco.
Well, no, and station wagons weren't cool anymore.
Right.
So you had minivans.
Yes. Yes, totally.
Like those are cooler.
Right. Yeah. But dude, that sliding door. There's a there's a Toyota commercial where a guy opened both of his sliding doors and a dolphin jumped through. Do you remember that?
No.
Of his minivan. It was like, Toyota Sienna is trying to make minivans cool. And so it was like the cool dad. But it totally was. It was the, I love that soccer mom era, kind of thing. But Ford was stopping the Bronco, and later, after they stopped the Bronco, they came out with the Explorer.
Right.
And that was the 4-door answer.
Well, Ford doesn't like to say that they killed the Bronco.
Right.
Especially after the OJ thing. But they were all set to roll out the rest of this new SUV line. They had the Explorer, the Expedition, the Excursion, and then the Escape. Spelled just like escape. Yeah. And the Bronco just didn't fit in with that. It had 2 doors, but I think the millennials are the ones that really killed the Bronco during that period because, they were everywhere. You had 3 or 4 of them in the back seat and car seats, and they needed their own doors. So I'm going to blame this on the millennials.
Privileged millennials needing their own doors.
That's why the Bronco went away.
Ford had a bunch of E's, but no room for a B.
That's right.
Explorer, Escape, Expedition. Wasn't it the Explorer that became the Exploder because of all the tires that would pop,
or the transmissions?
Yeah, all of the above. So yeah, what comes next? What happened next? Nothing. From 1996 through 2021, we had 25 years of no Bronco. They actually did make I think it was a Bronco Explorer, or they tried to badge the Bronco. Was that in the Sonari podcast? They were talking about.
Yeah, there are some great episodes. Episodes 6, 7, and 8, and Bring Back Bronco. Sonari Glinton just does a fantastic job of talking about this whole era, and then he starts to go into the attempts to bring the Bronco back by certain people within Ford. And they go by the Bronco Underground, and you can see these guys in meetings going, they're like, what are we going to do? It's like, I have an idea, bring the Bronco back. And they're like, shut up for the last time.
Yeah. I mean, but what was interesting was Ford purposefully kept the Bronco name. It was like, they badged one of the Explorers, literally a single Explorer. They badged it as a Bronco, and it's sitting in some showroom somewhere. And that's like one of one, but because of that, they're able to keep like the copyright of the name Bronco. They're able to keep, the trademark. That's what it is, the trademark of the name Bronco as a vehicle. So Ford wanted to keep it. There were enough people who said, let's not lose this. But yeah, it was 25 years of then trying to get the Bronco back. And I think Sonari's podcast, Bring Back Bronco, is a great listen if you're on a road trip or something like that, and want to just kind of sit through some Bronco history. That's really well done by Sonari. Well, we're running out of time for this episode, but yeah, the best part of that story is the Bronco Underground and all of that development and the launch and all that stuff.
We need to just do another episode on the Bronco Underground.
Yeah.
Like you said, maybe get one of those guys to come on with us.
Yes,
and,
if you know anyone who is a part of the Bronco Underground, we would love to interview them.
Yeah, and we can talk about there I think it was 3 attempts to actually bring the truck back. They took one to Florida, which was that 4-door you were talking about, a rebadged.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it was an Explorer or an Expedition, and then there was the Centurion.
Oh yeah,
which is a giant truck like the Excursion, and we can talk about all that. But we're out of time for today.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Definitely click that subscribe button and stay in the know whenever we post a new episode. We usually post our episodes on Monday, at some point on Mondays. So be on the lookout. Thanks for watching.